Hi Connect. So I'm going to talk you through our art lesson for today. We're going to draw a kookaburra. Just like the early explorers who had to draw everything, they didn't have cameras, we're going to have a go at drawing an Australian animal. So follow the screen and my instructions. My little recording up here is nice and small, so see how you go noticing that, but you can look at the main screen. So let's get started. You're going to draw an oval and a smaller oval on top, a bit like a snowman. Notice it's a little bit towards the right. I'm going to be pushing hard, but if you push lightly and do lots of lines, it's easier to rub out and just get the shapes you want. Make sure you've got a pencil and an eraser, and just any regular white paper is fine. Okay, once you've got that shape, we're going to put in our beak line and our shoulder line. So I'm just going to do mine dark so you can see, hopefully, that little. Need to make sure that the top circle is a bit towards the right and the bottom circle is sort of an oval, not too skinny and not too round. Then I'm going to come in and put a line probably about from the center of the head, coming out almost as wide as the top circle. And then I'm going to bring a shoulder around, or a line from the back coming down, not too low, just a bit below the bottom of that oval, and bringing around my wing like a shoulder, following the line of the tummy, bringing it around like that. Then just check your dimensions with the screen and make sure it lines up. The one on screen's a little bit long and the angle that they filmed it at, so you can actually go a little bit skinnier if you like. All right, let's look at the next part. We're going to put our tail in. Notice how they've done the tail. There's a little bit of a thing in the way there. We come down from the back of the oval, right near the wing, and we come down not too long. You can see I'm nearly towards the bottom of my page, and I'm going to curve it up a little bit like a rectangle, but the bottom is sort of curved rather than like a hard rectangle shape. It's almost like the bottom of an F. That comes up into its body. So hopefully you can see that. I'll do a bit darker so you can see on that tiny screen. All right, now we're going to come through and add in our beak. So have a look up here. I'm going to bring the beak line out, not too wide, but wide enough so it's not skinny, and one on the bottom. The bottom one comes a little bit underneath the top one, like that. And we're going to put an eye just above that middle line. Notice the eye is sort of sitting about the middle of the circle, a little bit more to the right. So I'll put that in nice and hard so you can see. Please, again, push lightly so you can change position of things if you need to. The eye takes up, not too tiny, but it's not too big either. It takes up quite a bit of room. It's not at the top of the head either. It's just above the beak. Have a look at their screen. It'll be a bit clearer for you. There you go. So now we're going to come in and put a bit of detail on that beak. Notice they brought the beak around just underneath the eye there. So we're going to curve that around. And then the top beak here, they rub the middle line out a little bit, and you're going to overlap the top of that beak. So you're going to curve down that straight line so it dips down onto the bottom one. Now it makes him look a bit more smiley. And the bottom part of the beak, you're going to curve a little bit as well. So check their picture. And it comes down into the head a little bit like that. So a bit narrower. Now we're going to look at the area towards the tummy. And notice we've drawn a line from the beak all the way down, and we've connected the head to the body, so that's curved in a bit. It's come down, we've got fluffy lines here at the bottom and feathery parts towards the tail, and we've added a bit of shading here on the tail. So lots of colouring and sort of shading, so sketchy lines. So I'm going to come from the beak, bring that line down and in, follow down the tummy, add some sketchy lines in, and keep that going towards the tail. Then I'm going to come back and rub out underneath that neck. I'm going to rub out the circles where they connect, the body circles, and make it a little bit clearer. I can also rub out where the beak is behind the circles, so we don't want them to be seen anymore. All right, now we're going to work on our head and going around the back. So have a loop where they've looped the head all the way down to the wing, and we're going to put those lines in on the wing. So when you come around, notice this bit near the beak on the head comes up a little bit more. So they've almost got not a rounded bit, but it goes up a little bit higher. It's not a big lump, it's not a cockatoo sort of peak, just comes up around a bit more upwards. And down the back, we're going to join that head to the wing. So we're going to make the line connect down gradually. So it's not a line like a hard shape. It gradually follows from one line down into the next and dips in. And we're going to rub out those circle lines from before, so it curves his back in like that. Then we're going to come down on the wing and we're going to draw in 2 lines following the line that you already had. You might want to rub out this back guideline of the tail and the body as well, so we can just focus on that back wing. Bring your line, again it should be light. I'll do it heavy so that you can see it, but it should be light because we're going to rub it out afterwards. And then a second line. Notice it curves at the end a bit like a sort of J shape. And notice it's almost like train tracks. They're parallel to the ones before. All right, the next part is we're going to put in some detail on our feathers on our wing. So we're actually going to rub out lightly some of these lines that we put in, so they're just a guide. We'll start at the back here, and you're going to do thin, like a U or a W shape. So we're going to do nice thin ones. I'm going to go really fast and get through our video. Wider ones as you come up so you can see on the screen there. And they're sort of U's, they do connect. Use sketchy lines with your pencil because we want it to look feathery. Bring it round, the lines are heading sort of down, and as it comes around, it's more of a wider U shape or a W. And a few little shapes up near the top of the wing. Then we're going to come through and do the second line like this. And then with your third line, so I'm doing this really fast, I want you to take more time and look at their screen. We're just going to have a couple of wider U's and a few little U's on that back wing there. Wide sort of ones around here, and we can rub out our guidelines as well. So we want those lines that we put in to disappear, but we want to see the feather lines. Now we're going to come and concentrate on the tail. Have a look at their example. They've drawn another little layer here of about 3 feathers. 1, 2, and 3, and another little one connecting up in here. And then they've got long, thin line coming down the back of the tail, or the left side, and then another one, and then a wider one, and then coming up gradually another wide one. I probably need to put another one in mine. I'm going to rub out that tail guide that I had and make sure that the bottom has like little W's or U's for the tail, so we don't see the other shape that was behind. And you'll notice that they put the rest of the wing feathers in now. Can you see that? There they are. I'll pause. So you can copy those ones. I'm going to keep moving on. Remember, you can pause the video at any time. All right, so now we're going to focus on that head, and we're going to color in all around this wing here too. So we're just going to focus on this bit. Draw another line around the eye, a very thin one. And keep that kind of even as much as possible. Then you're going to bring like a triangular shape coming back and color in back behind the eye. Keep it nice and neat, not too hard. Remember, it's almost like you're coloring in lead. And bring it around the front of the eye near the beak as well, and up near the front, and you can color in really lightly with your pencil on that front there. So I'm going to race you through that one. And then we're going to come down, and when we're coloring in this wing, we want to take our pencil and come back over those little dips where we put the feathers. So you should be coloring nice and neatly. You shouldn't really see the lines of your pencil. If you put your pencil to the side, make sure it's not sharp but blunt, and you can spend time coloring through that. That will take you a little bit of time to shade over the whole thing. I'm going to move ahead so I don't run out of time on our video. And then we're going to have a look at adding some pattern to the tail there. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's sort of like a shaggy pattern tail. I'll try and move my picture up. So coming from the bottom, we're going to bring that line pattern across. Okay, a couple of lines, and it comes across each feather. And come back over with your pencil and draw those lines nice and clearly as well. And that's the brown pattern on the tail of the kookaburra. And keep going with that, and shade in a bit darker right near the right side of that tail, just underneath his body. You might need to put feathers so that they join and connect. And you're going to shade in up under this wing as well on his tummy still. Now let's look at them drawing his claws. Okay, so it comes out from the bottom, across, dips, and then comes around. And we're going to do the second one. Make sure you're looking at the size of those claws comparative to his eye and his beak and things like that. So they're not too long, they're not like big long kangaroo legs, and they're not too small. So I'm going to come from the bottom, coming across like a finger shape. Keep checking my screen, sort of like a finger and then another one. And at the end I'm going to put it like a little claw. It's not massive claw, it's not like a big talon on an eagle. They need that claw for gripping. And I'm going to shade a bit on the bottom there, so it looks like it's under the underside, makes it three-dimensional. I'm going to quickly go on so we don't run out of time. Okay, so then we're going to add some shading up here to the beak and adding in our eye. So underneath that beak there, you'll notice this almost this loop shape. Like a sort of tear. And I'm going to keep always looking at my screen to check that I'm doing the right shapes and areas. I might want to hold up my picture as well next to the screen. And then I'm going to shade lightly on the top of his beak. Come through. And I'm going to come back, in any lines that I can see from before I'll rub out. And in the eye in the middle, we're going to colour that dark and leave a tiny little dot. Now, it's not a manga eye. We're not making cartoon. We're just going to catch a little bit of reflection. So you're drawing another circle. So you should have 1, 2, and 3. So that's the final circle in the middle bit there. You can see on their screen. Now mine really doesn't look as cool as the one on screen. I can come through and look at areas where I could fix it up. Maybe that head, bring it around a bit, and a bit skinnier in here. I think my back feathers are a bit too wide, so I might even want to rub out that part there. Try not to rub too much. It's a really good idea to get your shapes at the start. Making his neck a bit skinnier and his tummy up here might help as well. Make him look more like a kookaburra and not a dove. So that comes around a bit skinnier. And I've definitely got to work on my shading, and there's a couple of little feathers in on here. So I'm going to come through and colour. Now our time is nearly out. Keep working on yours and keep holding it up to the screen and look at areas where you can add detail. But the shading is really going to make the difference. Don't add colour, because this is sort of a sketch with the idea of just doing it with pencil. And you can see how quickly they would have done it. They would have got very good at sketching really fast. Remember, a bird's moving quickly. They wouldn't have always caught a bird. Sometimes they did and put them in cages to study them. But remember, even then it's moving a lot. So trying to get that shape without a picture would have been tricky. So it gives you an idea of what it would have been like living back in 1788 with the first fleet seeing these animals. Well done on your picture, and can't wait for you to send them in and for me to have a look. Bye.